Hello everybody, Doa here, and I know I've kind of already done a card breakdown video for the Gundam card game, but that one was outdated the day after I put it out there because they released a bunch of new card images at the time, and since then I've had a chance to play a lot with these beta edition cards from the Gundam card game, and I have a lot more insight, I think, into how they operate, what we're going to see stick around once the full set is released, and what is good right now in the beta environment. So I thought I would go through and do a color by color breakdown of my thoughts for every card in the beta environment so far. And what better way to do it than with a tier list? Everybody loves tier lists, right? So I'm going to rank from S to D all of the cards in blue in the beta right now. And then in future videos, we'll go through the other colors and yeah, kind of give you my thoughts on it. Now, I think what I'm going to do is my criteria for ranking these is not necessarily going to be what's good in the beta environment right now, because a lot of cards I think are fine in the beta environment right now, and I'll make sure to talk about that when we get to those cards, but I don't think they're going to be great long term. And what I want this tier list to be is sort of a predictive thing about what cards I think are going to be best long term that we're seeing right now. So that's kind of the angle I'm going through, is what are cards that I'm seeing myself putting in constructed decks after the full release comes out? What is going to be release proof in that I don't know if there's going to be stronger stuff coming out, right? So it's going to be a fun sort of thought experiment. It's going to be fun to go back and see how right or wrong I was later on. But let's get into it. As you can see, we're starting with the good old RX-78-2. This is the Legend Rare version, and this is a card that I think really typifies everything Blue is trying to do right now in the beta environment, where I think what Blue is best at, obviously there's healing and all that kind of stuff, there's resting mechanics, but I think what Blue is really good at in the beta environment specifically, and I suspect is going to be fairly good at once the game comes out, is flooding the board with low cost, low level stuff and then buffing it, right? Getting a lot of attacks in at once. The number of attacks you present towards your opponent in this game is going to be very, very important, or at least it seems that way so far. So this card really does a great job of putting all of that into practice. So we've got Repair 2 on this, which is great right off the bat. You know, it heals a little bit at the end of every turn if it's still alive. But what really stands out to me is that it's only level 4. So level 4 for this powerful of a mobile suit, I think is pretty significant, honestly. As we look at the other ones, you're going to sort of see what I mean. But the fact that during your turn while it's paired, all of your units get +1 AP is good too. The stats are fine on this. It's a 3/4, 3 attack power, 4 hit points. Obviously, Amuro Ray is your pilot here, so if you're a Link unit, great. But you can put any pilot on it and get that blanket buff to your board too. You can put any blue pilot you want, or if you're running multicolor, any pilot from the other color. So it's very flexible in the way this card can be used. And so for that reason, right off the bat, I think this card is S rank. I think if you're going to build a deck with Blue, whether it's in the beta environment now or in the full release later on, you're going to be running this card. It's just too good, right? It's too versatile. And so for me, this is, right off the bat, I think we have an S rank card here in the Legend Rare version of the RX-78-2. But let's move on. This is the alternate art really quick here. Looks really great. And moving on to the Gundam MA form, or Ma form. So this is an interesting one, right? This is one that I think is okay in the beta environment, but I want to direct your attention to the level cost here. Level 5 is kind of prohibitive. I mean, it's 4 attack, 3 hit points. So, I mean, it's kind of the reverse stats of the one we just looked at. It's a little bit less durable. It does have the interesting sort of dynamic with it that when it's paired with any white-based team pilot, you get to draw one. So sure, the Link is from Amuro Ray, where you can attack the turn it comes into play. That's great. But any white-based pilot is going to give you that draw. So it does have that going for it. Again, I think the flexibility is nice, and I think we do see a good amount of flexibility in Blue. But the level really kind of holds me back from placing it highly here, in my opinion. So if I can find it down here, there we go. I think I'm going to put this in B. I don't think it's a bad card. I just don't think it's the greatest card, and I really doubt that it's going to be a card that's going to make it into constructed decks once we see the full release pool of cards. That's my theory anyway with this one. But beta environment, you got the beta kit out there. I have it in my deck. Throw it in your deck too. It's fine for that. All right, let's move on. What's next? We've got the Gym. All right, good old Gym. Level 2, cost 1. I think this is a great card to play on your first turn if you are going second, if you get the EX resource. Quick note on the EX resource. I think Generally, in this game right now anyway, you want to go second because you want to be able to play that level 2 stuff a little bit earlier. It just expands the amount of cards you're able to play on your first turn, and getting a mobile suit out there quickly, I think, is pretty important. So this one fits into that really well. Great stats, honestly. 2/2 for level 2 1 cost. That's awesome, right? The only drawback here is that it doesn't have any sort of link potential. You notice in the bottom left of the card, there's no name, there's no trait or anything like that. So you'll never be able to attack with it the turn it comes into play. But since it is one of those first turn mobile suits, I think that's probably a good thing, more or less, you know? But it's tough for me to say if this is going to be something that's going to survive in the full release, I guess. The reason being is that I wonder if we're going to see other low cost stuff that has a link option, maybe that has an ability. Maybe this is just such a vanilla card, and in TCGs usually those fall off kind of fast. That said, I mean, I think it is still good. Presents good stats for the level, good first turn play. So for now, I'm going to put it in A with, I will say, the potential of moving it down to B later. I think it's better than the RX-78 Maform that we just looked at, but I don't think it's, that much better, really. So we'll put it in A for now. Moving on to Amuro Ray. All right, our first pilot here. I think he's great. Obviously, a level 4 fits in right away with the legendary that we just took a look at. Cost 1. Most of the pilots cost 1 so far that we've seen. Gives +2 attack, +1 hit points. So on the more aggressive side, it will buff your legend rare RX-78 to a 5/5 total. So nice even stats there. Burst. Most pilots have burst. Add to your hand. I think all the ones we've seen so far have that, so no surprise there. And then a lot of traits, right? Earth Federation, white base team, new type. So looks like a pretty versatile card if you're kind of doing a little bit of prediction, wondering what we're going to see in the future here as far as link options, right? Or synergy options. When paired, choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP, rest it. So a pretty powerful when paired as well. And remember that when paired doesn't need to necessarily be in a link unit. You can put him on the ball, and he's going to rest something with 5 or less HP. So I think it's a great card. I think he's an auto include in the beta environment, certainly. Maybe in the environment down the line to the release environment. So I'll go ahead and put him in S. I think S is like a must include. What do we got next? We have the thoroughly damaged / Hayato Kobayashi command / pilot card. I think this is good. Level 2, 1 cost. You can throw him on a unit pretty quickly. He's got I'll move here. Earth Federation and white base team traits, so that's pretty versatile. That's not bad. And then if you play him as a command card instead of as a pilot, choose 1 rested enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. So that can be a nice way to just finish something off, or you have Amuro come in and rest something, and then he pings it, for a damage, which lets you maybe make a good trade into something. So it is a pretty versatile card. It requires some hoops to sort of like make work well. But then again, you can always play him as a pilot, give 1 extra HP to something. That's not bad either. I think it's a strong card for the beta environment. I think it's a card that you could see thrown into constructed decks down the line. I'm going to put him in A, but I'm going to put him in the top of A. Definitely not S, but definitely better than the Gym too, I think. So moving on. 2, Kai's Resolve, another command / pilot card, kind of the opposite of the thoroughly damaged card, right? Where that one gives you HP and damages, this one gives you attack power and heals. So as a command card, you can choose a friendly unit, recovers 3 HP. As a pilot card, same traits as the one we just looked at, Earth Federation and white base team. As a pilot card, it gives +1 attack. So you can choose, again, what fits you best in the in the moment. Now it is level 3, so it does require an extra resource and play on your side to be able to play this card. So that makes it slightly less versatile, but getting to recover 3 is pretty good. I think durability is pretty important in this game, so I tend to favor defense over attack right now as far as fighting for that board control. And where in blue, you're going to have some healing anyway. You're going to have some restore that just comes stock on the mobile suits like we saw in that legend rare. His heal seems a little bit less useful. I do agree that putting it at level 2 would be a little bit too strong maybe. But level 3, I'm a little bit on the fence of this. I'm gonna put it in A because I think the heal is good, but I'm going to put it in the bottom of A for the moment. But I think it's a decent card. Certainly an auto-include, I think, in the beta environment for sure. All right. Moving on to the white base. This card is pretty great, I think. Level 3 costs 2. You can play it fairly early. 5 HP, which is great. That seems to be the max on bases right now in the beta environment. We'll have to see what happens when we get the full release cards. Activate main once per turn. You can pay 2 and deploy a 3/3 Gundam. If you have 0 units, you can pay. So let me start over. Hold on. You can pay 2, right? And then you can put a 3/3 Gundam out if you have no units. You can put a 2/2 gun cannon out if you have 1 unit in play, and you can put a 1/1 gun tank out if you have 2 units in play. So you get a better token based on the units you already have in play. So I like this card in terms of it both protecting your shields, but also putting units on the board. Just getting a good amount of units on the board is strong. This fits in very well with Blue's play style of, I think, flooding the board with low power stuff and just presenting a lot of different attacks. Everyone's talking about green as the very aggressive color in this set right now, but Blue I think, does a great job of being sort of that go wide, weenie aggro, spot, right? So I think this fits in really well with that. I'm going to put it, I really like this card a lot. I think it's very useful. I'm going to put it in the top of A, maybe even S. Yeah, I mean, am I being too liberal with the S rankings? Am I putting too much stuff in S? No, I think S is good, because to me S is that category where I would be very surprised if it didn't make it into constructed decks after the full set is released. I think this is going to be a good card long term. So good cards long term, in my opinion, are S rank. So we'll put it in S. We'll put it in bottom of S, but we'll put it in S. All right, moving on. Love the bases. And here's our gun cannon. So level 3 costs 2. It is a 2/3 in terms of stats. It has repair 1, which is really nice. When paired, choose 1 enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. So it's got that nice little Amuro Ray-esque resting capability when you pair it. So it's got a lot of stuff going for it, right? I think it is solid. It's one of our rare cards. White base team is the link too, so it's very easy for you to link things with it, right? The thoroughly damaged Yamato Kobayashi will link with it, and then the Kai's Resolve will link with it as well. So you get a lot of options as far as attacking with it the turn it comes into play. Lower power, but still, that attack is going to be really nice. So to me, this is easy A. Easy A card, I think. I'm going to put it towards the top of A. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it at the top A right now. I'm actually going to move this one to the bottom of A. Sorry, Jim. All right, but yeah, great card. And, this is one that I am fairly confident we'll still see use when the game comes out, but I'm not 100% confident. So I would almost be inclined to put it at the bottom of S, but I think for the sake of keeping the S cards a little bit separated, I'm going to put it at the top of A, because I don't think it's quite on the level of those other ones. All right. The gun cannon alt art, there you go. Beautiful stuff. By the way, I'm just cycling through the images on the official website for the game. You can go and find all this stuff there yourself as well. I think they have it very nicely laid out there. Gundam Unicorn from my favorite Gundam series, Gundam Unicorn, right? Level 5, so it is on the more expensive level cost, but what do we get for that? We get a 4/3. We get a unit that says during pair and when destroyed, if this is a link unit, return its paired pilot to its owner's hand, then discard it. I don't know why I had such a hard time reading that. But anyway, when it's paired with Banager Lynx, who's the link unit there, it'll bounce back to your hand, which is nice because he gives you a lot of power. We'll take a look at him in a little bit. So, is it worth the cost? Is it worth the level 5? Putting out a 4/3 then? Maybe. I think it's a good card. I think the upside is very high. I think the hoop to jump through that you do have to have the link pilot for it to work does hurt it a little bit. So I'm kind of holding out to see if we get a better version of the Unicorn Gundam than this, because I think this is okay, but I don't think it's fantastic. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it here in A. I think it's a little better than the Gym maybe in overall power, but I think it's less useful, less versatile than the 2 command pilot cards we've seen and then the gun cannon. So I think it's okay, but honestly, this is a card that when I was building my best of from my beta kit, the best deck I could build, I didn't include this one actually because I think it just wasn't fast enough. It wasn't consistently strong enough, right? You're kind of just waiting to level 5 to play a vanilla 4/3 unless you have the pilot, right? So um, I'm not as high on this one as other ones, but I think it's okay. All right, moving on to the gun tank. Good old gun tank. Level 2, cost 1. Deploy, choose one rested enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. So this, again, synergizes really well with the fact that blue does rest things, so you can rest something and then play this and damage it. This is also good at punishing your opponent for some of their early attacks. It almost functions as like a little direct damage spell, right? Where later in the game it has usefulness too, where, you know, they're attacking, they barely kill something of yours, and they have 1 HP left, right? You'll see a lot of trades like that where people will be like, okay, well, I'm going to put a pilot on this mobile suit so that I can trade into yours, and mine lives with 1 HP. So I have won this encounter, right? And this card says, nope, you didn't, because you had to rest that unit to attack mine. And now I'm going to play this. I'm a unit up, even though it is a weak one, and your unit is destroyed now. So I think it is kind of it's useful in the early game as sort of pressure, but it's also useful in the mid to late game as just a nice way to finish off something that your opponent traded into you with, and then just kept it alive by just a tiny bit. So I like the gun tank a lot. I've seen it do really great things in the beta games I've played. So I'm actually going to put this. I really love gun tank. I'm going to put it on the top of A, actually. Yeah, because I think it's a card your opponent always has to worry about, right? Where when they're trading in the later stages of the game, you know, are you going to have something that can ping it and finish it off? You know, if they can't heal, it's a real danger. So I think it's a great card. So we're going to put it at the top of A. All right, let's see. What's next? It is the G Fighter. Okay, level 3, cost 2. It's a 3/2 as far as stats go. It links with white base team members, as you can see. The white base team trait, I should say. So again, pretty versatile as far as making it into a link unit, getting to attack the turn it comes into play. Having 3 attack is pretty nice, actually, for level 3 2 cost. So it is a nice aggressive card. When it says on deploy, it says choose one of your white base team units. It gains high maneuver this turn. So that means it can't be blocked. It says right there in the card. But you can choose yourself, I believe, too. I don't know 100% for certain rules-wise if you can choose the G Fighter itself, but I'm pretty sure you can. So if you do have a link unit in mind, being able to play it, link it, and then it has high maneuver from the deploy is pretty strong. So I like this card overall. Even if I end up being kind of wrong about that little rules interaction, I think it's still really good because you don't see a lot of high maneuver available in blue. That's kind of out of color aspect a little bit for this. So it gives you a little bit of a unique surprise. So I like this one a lot. I'm going to put it in A. Where will I put it? I'll put it right here. I think it's good. The Lotto. All right, another Earth Federation mobile suit, level 2, cost 2. So it's not something that you can really attack with first turn. Again, I think things are fairly well designed at this point that you're not going to get any link units on your very first turn of the game. I don't think you should. That would be very bad. But at least this is something where any turn after your first turn, potentially your 3 resource turn, right? If you go second, and then your second turn, you play this, and then you use your EX resource to play a pilot, an Earth Federation pilot on it, you get to attack right away. So this is potentially a very aggressive card. And the fact that it has a link trait option at all at level 2 cost 2 is kind of a big deal. So I like this card. It's definitely A for me. I'm going to put up an A. I'm going to put it a little bit above the unicorn here, just because, again, it's nice. It's a nice little aggro pressure card. Not the greatest stats, but I think the fact that it, again, has that link trait at all pushes it above some of the other similarly statted, similarly leveled stuff. Moving on to the Gundam. Level 4, cost 2, RX-78. This is just your vanilla Gundam. Amuro Ray, once again, for the link trait. I think, beta environment, you're going to put this in there because you're going to want to have a lot of chances to play Amuro on something, and so this is that. It's a 3/4. It's 1 cost less than your legend rare, RX-78. So it's okay, but frankly, this is filler, right? This is a filler card. I'm 99.9% sure it's going to be replaced once the game comes out. So we're going to put it here. Whereas, something like the Lotto, I think I could see myself using it in a constructed deck down the line. So yeah, this one I'm going to put there. I think if you're going to build, you're going to say what Gundams are going to survive to the main release environment for that first set. I don't think these 2 alternate version Gundams are going to do it. But for beta, yeah, throw it in there. I've got it in there. All right, the ball. I love this card. Ball is great. One cost, level 1. You can play 2 of them on your first turn if you have the EX resource. You probably shouldn't. You should probably save that EX resource for the record. But just being able to plunk this down on your first turn, no matter what, even if you're going first and you don't have the EX resource, it's level 1 cost 1. That's great. On attack, choose one of your units. It recovers 1 HP. That's a nice little bonus, but what I really love this card for is being able to put pressure on your opponent early, right? Whether it's just sort of pinging away at their EX base the next turn, whether it's, putting a pilot on it and maybe taking out the EX base. It's got a lot of versatility, and then the heal is always just kind of a nice side bonus. So again, if we're looking at blue, and this is how I look at blue right now, as a color that is designed to go wide and produce a lot of attacks and maybe get some kind of blanket buffs out there, I think this fits right into it. It is a deceptively strong card, so I'm going to put it right up here. Yeah, I like it there. The ball's great. All hail the ball. Moving on to the Jagan from the, or Yagan? I don't know. It's another one of the Earth Federation Gundam Unicorn mobile suits. Level 3 costs 2. When you have 2 or more Earth Federation units in play, this card in your hand gets -1 cost. So, okay, you can play it for 1. I mean, at level 3, you're not really going to have a hard time playing a couple cards at that point anyway. It's a 2/3 for 1 potentially, but you already have to have 2 or more Earth Federation units in play. So to get this out as fast as possible requires kind of some big hoops to jump through in terms of your early mobile suits surviving, and I don't think that happens very often. So I think it's okay, but this is another one where, maybe by stats alone, it's good enough because the 3 hit points is pretty significant. I mean, 3 hit points plus a pilot buff is going to make for some good trades. You can't link unit though, so that's another drawback. It has to be out there, and then it has to, attack the next turn. So I don't think this card is the greatest. I will admit I could be wrong. I'll put this at the top of B, but I just don't see this one in particular as a card that I'm going to be putting in my constructed decks once the full set comes out. I doubt it will be. All right, moving on to the Rizal, which is one of the coolest looking mobile suits, I think, from Gundam Unicorn. I loved building this model. It's got a neat plane transformation, all that. Now, compare the card we just looked at, right? I'll go back to it for a second. Level 3, 2 costs for 2/3. This is level 3, 2 costs for a 4/3, right? And you get no bonuses, you get no link traits, nothing like that. But unless your opponent finds a way to rest it and kill it themselves, the next turn you could potentially swing for 4. You could put a pilot on it and swing for 5 or more, which is going to eliminate any base, right? Or pretty much any mobile suit, at least in the beta environment. So the fact that this is a 4/3 at a level 3 2 cost is really good. I think this is one of the best just vanilla commons in the set, and just by sheer stats, sheer number power, I think this is a card that has a very good chance of making it into constructed decks, at least in the first set. I think this is a card that you're going to see it in first set decks, and then once the second set and on comes out, then you're going to see it start to get replaced because there's going to be things that are similarly statted but have a beneficial effect attached to them too. But this is a great set 1 powerhouse card, I think. So I'm going to put it, we're going to put it right about here, I think. Yeah, because I just like the raw numbers. I think it's just good. Raw numbers are just solid there. So Rizal, great card. Only a common too, pretty amazing. All right, moving on to Banager Lynx, or Banaji. I don't know. People pronounce it a whole bunch of different ways. I've just always said Banager. I don't know. Level 5, 1 cost. So remember, our Unicorn Gundam card was also level 5. So this is meant to come a little bit later in the game. 5 resources is kind of like your, I would say, mid-game to, depending on the game, the start of your late game. But it gives +2/+2 for 1. Most pilots cost 1, so it's not a big surprise there. +2/+2 is a lot of stats. And when paired, if this is a link unit, draw 1. So if you do put it down as a link unit, either via the, I guess, civilian stat or new type, it's not Earth Federation, notably. So you can't get that. But if you do link it, which is pretty much with the Unicorn itself at this point, you do get to draw a card, so it replaces itself in your hand, which is pretty nice, too, when you think about the fact that the Unicorn Gundam has that ability where if you're paired with Banager Lynx, when it gets destroyed, he bounces back to your hand. So strong card overall. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a card that you're going to see make it through to constructed play for the most part. Just because 1 for +2/+2 in stats is good. So even if it's not a link unit, it's still a card that you're probably going to use. I don't think it's S tier. I don't think it's a guarantee, right? And I think the big problem right now is that we don't really have a great Unicorn Gundam mobile suit to pair with this. But in the future, I could see it jumping up. As of now, I'm gonna put it. I'll put it like right here. I think it's definitely better than some of the other pilot cards we've seen, but I think it's still got a little ways to go before it's in S tier. But solid card for sure. And we got the alt art there. And then Riddy Marcenis, right? So this is another just pure pilot card. Level 3, cost 1. Gives +1/+1. And then if this unit has repair, it gets AP +1. So this does synergize fairly well with the repair stuff that you have, in blue, right? I mean, it's Earth Federation, so it's not white-based teams. So you can't necessarily get like some link bonuses from this if you play it on like what the G fighter or something like that. But giving +2/+1 for 1 at level 3 is really nice because you are going to find a good amount of stuff with repair. So he's a good like substitute pilot if you can't find like the perfect pilot for your mobile suit with repair. So I think he's good. I think he's definitely a tier pilot for sure. I'll put him. I'll put him right here because I think he's a little bit less versatile than the command pilot dual cards, but I think he's good as just like a regular pilot. I'd definitely use him. I have him in my deck. And then we got a couple more. Intercept Orders, command card. It's level 4, 2 cost. Burst, choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP, rest it. So that's kind of a nasty surprise if your opponent takes on one of your shields and reveals this and they had more attacks planned. This is one of those cards that can just win you games out of the blue, right? Where you're going to win on the next turn, but they would have won this turn if that last attack went through, and then they flip an Intercept Orders and you're like, all right, that guy's rested, and then that's it. And you go on to win, So it is one of those cards, right? But then we also have the main/action options. So again, fairly versatile as far as when we can play it as well. You can play it during your main phase. You can play it as an action to respond to your opponent attacking or something. Choose 1 to 2 enemy units with 3 or less HP, rest them. So even if it doesn't come out of burst, it can be very strong on the opponent's turn in terms of shutting down multiple attacks coming from their side. But I also want to point out that it's good on your turn as well. If you want to have some trades you really want to do, if they've got some weakened mobile suits or weaker mobile suits, you can play this on main, rest them, and then that allows your units to attack them because, normally you can't attack active units. So I like this card a lot. I think it's got a lot of versatility. I think level 4 is fine because if it was a lower level, it would just be way too strong. So we're going to put it, I think we're going to put it like up here actually, because as far as command cards goes, I think it's the best of the bunch in blue. And I know I'm saying that knowing what's coming up here too, but I think this is the best command card in blue right now. But let's look at our other command card in blue. It is a Show of Resolve. So this card is just straight up draw 2, level 3 or level 4. I'm sorry, 3 cost, draw 2. So this is one of those cards that in the beta environment, it's really nice to draw 2. Anytime you have a limited card pool, especially in a beta environment like this, where the purpose of the cards that are in the beta kit are very clearly to get you a feel for the flavor of the colors, right? It's not a selection of the best cards. It's not a selection of like the secondary cards. It is just a good spread of cards to give you a feel for what that color is going to do in the main game. And so this is a kind of card that works well in a beta environment because you are going to get to a point where you're not drawing as consistently. Your deck just isn't consistently drawing just because of the nature of the beta environment again. So having a draw 2 card is great. A lot of times you can end up using this in the late game to just refill your hand. That said, in a fully polished constructed environment, I would be surprised if we saw this card. Maybe you run a 2 of if card draw is like really, really rare. But I've got a feeling there's going to be other better ways to draw cards in the game. And so for this reason, I'm going to put it down in B. I will go ahead and put it in the top of B because I think it's a card that, like I said, you could maybe run 2 of in your constructed stuff once the full set comes up. But I've got a feeling this card is going to get outclassed by other cards. That's just my guess. And it has a cool alt art though. There you go. Zabi alt art. And moving on, our final card in blue from the beta environment, we have Side 7, another base. This one only has 4 HP, which is kind of interesting. It is level 1 cost 1, so you can play it as your very first action in the game. You rest, and it's got an activate main, rest the base, choose one friendly unit, it recovers 1 HP. So, you know, it's nice to help you recover from early trades with unit to unit. You know, you can, you know, buff the HP with something and then make this better, or make this, equip it to better trade, I suppose. But I don't think it's the greatest base. I think in the beta environment, you maybe run it if you're really heavy on blue just to have more bases. But the fact that it's only 4 HP isn't great. It's barely better than EX base, right? And it's clearly designed to be early game durability, right? Your opponent takes out your EX base really quickly. You can put this down very cheaply. You can play it later in the game, and it's cheap, of course, too. But I don't think it's the greatest base. I don't think it's going to be something that survives in a constructed environment once we see the full set of cards. So this is going to be a B tier for me as well. So we'll put it down here. And so you notice I didn't put anything in C and D just because I think I want to wait until I see the full set before really putting stuff in C and D, unless I think it's just like a terrible card, right? And I don't think anything is terrible yet in this set. So all of them have their usefulness, at the very least in a beta environment. So we're going to go B for the lowest here. But that's kind of the breakdown of, blue as I see it. The RX-78 Legend Rare, Amuro Ray, and White Base are all S tier cards that I think will absolutely see play once the full set comes out. And then A tier are cards that really good in beta, I think have a high likelihood of seeing play once the full set comes out. And then B are cards that I just don't think we're going to see once the full set comes out. But if you have them, if you have no other options, they're probably okay for the beta environment. So anyway, that's that. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of the blue cards. Let me know in the description if you agreed with me, if you totally disagreed with me, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to me talk about card games and whatever else I put on this channel. So until next time, thanks a lot. See ya.